fairy tale
yes.
awakening kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then only splashes in like the knights that are kind of more necessarily generic.
Gotcha. And something I think that's interesting to note is that while I think it's expected that Loki will kind of focus on machines just because that archetype is very strong, Loki's actual archetype is about awakening and using Fenrir and some of these other cards to really gain advantage, not only with her judgment, but just with the ability to play cards at multiple will costs. So, all right, we see the ruler is Lucifer. All right.
Okay. So we have Lucifer versus... This could actually go really well in base idea being that Loki and his awakens is more prevalent on card draw.
Yes.
So that
he might be able to outvalue especially
the
with
heavy discards.
I think is it accumulated knowledge, or that might be my magic history talking, but the... what is the draw 2 rune?
For blue?
Yes, it's this one right here.
Overflowing knowledge. Yeah.
Overflowing
pay
knowledge
2, draw 3.
is the pay 2 and draw 2, I believe.
So I'm looking at Ryan's list: massive growth, maintenance, reconnaissance, overflowing knowledge, and consume.
There you go. So he's got removal on standby, card advantage. He's got the ability to, if we think of... if we're correct in that actually, I'm really curious. Let's see what Ryan is running for machines. He's running Lancelot,
So I'll go
Vivian,
ahead, while you're looking through that, I'm going to quickly...
Donut Drone.
Just a first turn pass from Soon. Yeah, so the 3 are
the combat
Lancelot,
tricks.
Vivian, and Donut Drone. Everything else is...
All right, so he's going more with the early game combat tricks and then having the ability to tap things down.
So less worried as much about nuking the board,
yes.
as it were, to just have these kind of value plays.
Yep. All right, so we see Ryan. All right, so it appears that he's
going to play turn 1 Gretel.
Yep.
This is the one that whenever he does an awakening, it's to draw a card.
Yep, triggers once a turn. And actually, something interesting to note here is this card has 600 defense for a 1-drop.
Yeah, which is surprisingly huge. Also, for those of you who watch the Teacher's Lounge, Ryan is not playing a black deck at Worlds like he said he would, so we get to...
And so it has such a big booty that it ends up taking up the entire screen. So bear with us for a moment here while we adjust. And that is in fact not the card that was just played, but it will be updated shortly.
So this is the forest.
There you go. Yep.
Was just played from Ryan.
Yes, this is the Misty Woods. And so he looks at the top 4 cards, I believe it is, and picks a fairy tale that he puts into his hand.
The rest on the bottom of your deck in a random order. So the whole idea here, and I was talking with them a little bit about this, is they use Gretel and then the Scarecrow that's awakened for draw 1 discard with the Misty Woods.
Set your graveyard
then
up.
Set a graveyard up for a very quick Hamlin.
Yes.
Like bring out a Hamlin super early.
Yep. And something interesting to note here is, I don't know, I think you guys kind of noticed on Ruler School as well, is the artwork on Misty Woods is actually kind of a skull hidden in there.
Which is really nice.
I am a fan of that. Okay, and we see he gets the Hamlin in hand. I'm curious to see what other big spells he's playing, Ryan's playing here. So he's playing... Jormungandr, he's playing Fenrir, of course. All right, he's got 4 of Hamlin, which is very powerful.
Yeah.
So anything in black, actually, we know has some pretty serious big resonators. So if he drops, whether it be Vlad or Shemhaza, he's going to be able to steal those right away.
Sorry, our life totals here would be 4,000 to 38. I think actually the damage didn't even go through because he used a rune to kill it, so it should be 40-40 still.
All right.
And Misty Woods is also, someone is saying here, a very nice cancel to discard.
Yes.
So even, weirdly enough, in this matchup, even having the Hamlins in your hand is like, do you want to make me discard it?
Yeah.
Because then I get it for 1.
Yeah.
Which is surprisingly... Two, sorry, and sacking Misty Woods. Yeah. So it might actually end up being part of the thing that keeps Ryan advantaged out and taking away some of the natural advantage that Lucifer has.
I think this is actually a very interesting, like a meta on the meta of knowing that typical Loki machines does struggle with Lucifer. However, this variant seems to do a lot better.
Here's the Scarecrow. Yep. So the Scarecrow is going to get to...
And
he
now
doesn't get the second draw that comes with Gretel, which would have been nice.
That would have been a +2. Yeah,
but he gets a nice solid draw, and having the Hamlet in hand, he now gets to discard it, and he has 2 will because of the Awakening. So the second Soon plays a creature,
he can take it.
Ryan's just going to take it.
And that's one of those cards that it might sit there and kind of wait until he forgets about it, maybe mid-match, and then all of a sudden it comes in for a punish. So that's actually very interesting.
We can think of something like even if the Azazel gets dropped, the Angel, right?
Yep.
The Fallen Angel, because then not only do I get the Fallen Angel, and you probably tapped out to play it, but also it's a Fallen Angel, so you can Belial it.
Yeah.
So I have this kind of protected,
he's already used his removal rune, and so there's very little actually besides Life Severing Blade that even gets rid of an Azazel at this point if he was able to steal something like that.
Right.
So we're seeing 3 draw. Okay.
Discard.
So
which
he
again,
knows he has the Hamlin. I think he revealed it.
Well, the Hamlin's in the grave already because of the Scarecrow.
Okay.
So Ardenite and a bunch of and some more Scarecrows. The look of corruption here. Donut drone. So now it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What am I looking at here?
What am I playing?
This is machines and.
Now, what do you think you take here? Do you take the Lancelot?
No, I don't take the Lancelot mainly because he can just pay 2 and bring it back at instant speed.
Yep.
This turn.
Yep.
Which will still be a 7/7.
Oh.
Choosing to take the Lancelot anyway, which I think is an interesting decision. I probably honestly would have thought about taking something like the Donut Drone or the Vivian. And the reason why here is because if he is going to sack one of those Misty Woods to bring back a creature that I just discarded, I want it to be as low cost as possible so that it's really him losing value as opposed to gaining any.
And I think the other thing to consider potentially is the Erendite, the blade, because if he tries to gain any value out of playing one of his larger resonators, he'll lose that just for one will.
Lancelot can't be grabbed. You're right.
Yeah,
it only has to be a fairy tale.
Excuse me. Yeah. That's all right.
They're
all new cards. They're all new cards.
It would have been even more insane if it was just any resonator. I think this probably would have been the unbeatable one.
So let's see. He draws a Jorgmunder, it looks like here. And so now he has the will, and I'm not sure. We haven't seen anything out of Ryan's rune deck.
Right.
Let's see here. He's got the massive. So he does have the massive growth. So he can play a fully awakened. Although I don't know if now is the right time when he still has access to Black Rosario.
Right.
But should he do so or consider to do so, he has the ability to put a 9/9 that when it attacks, it removes anything in play. And
he is playing 3 Fenrir.
Okay.
Which is nice to see. Loki's Watchdog.
Oh yeah.
That's a very solid answer,
powerful.
like follow up to a judgmented.
Loki.
Yep. And Loki does only judgment for 3. It is one of the lowest cost judgments of this format.
Yes.
Which is potentially really huge. Swinging in with Scarecrow, who has a base
400
of 400 attack.
It is
so taking first blood down to 36.
And it's. So Scarecrow is a really interesting card because as itself, it's what is typically called looting. So draw a card, discard a card. But with the Hansel, I believe it is, it becomes a draw 2, discard 1. And the discard is actually beneficial in this deck.
Because it has the pseudo reanimation,
which can almost make it a +3 on a card that costs 2. So it fits right on curve to really be excellent.
And the thing is, that Hamlin is now sitting there, right? So at any point in time, if
awaken
for 3, I imagine this is probably for the make it a 9/9.
Yes, it appears so.
So the gluttony counter,
gluttony
growth
is
counter.
the eating counter. Yep.
Right.
The growth.
He paid 3. Yeah, he paid it for the growth counter. So it's a 9/9 for 3, which is also a really huge body. But the thing is here. So if at any point in time, there's my camera getting hit, I'm gonna go correct that real quick. I'll be right back.
No problem. So. One thing that is interesting to note here is that Ryan is consistently keeping up the 2 will so that whenever he needs to, if, so to speak, Soon was to play any large resonator, he has access. Oh, all right, so we have Black Rosario here. We kind of expected something like that. Not committing too much to the board. Yeah, we're getting the camera fixed, I believe. It's almost back. It needs to go up about an inch or so. But yeah, so Ryan's been using the energize. Okay, so he's going to pay the energize. Maybe, maybe not. Aaron Miles Dite. So. Alright, yeah, we're good. Ish. Enough. So
what did I miss?
Nothing there. So he did the Black Rosario, and Ryan's been deciding how he wants. He was originally going to maybe activate, but he decided against it. He still has the 2 will available to him. He uses he's got the Look of Corruption.
So I imagine if I'm in Ryan's shoes right now, it's way better to just always leave up that 2 will.
Oh yeah.
Because it constantly threatens Soon, saying,
"Yep,
I might just take something. Like
at some point,
your first creature, you better have something else to immediately back it up.
Oh, interesting.
I'm gonna just take it.
I did not expect to see that. I believe that's the -200 +200 demon.
I will quickly pull up my reference. Gatherer of Despair.
Yeah.
So your opponent loses 2, you gain 2. So quick little tying up the game for 2-drop.
38 for life swing.
Which is going to be a take here.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why is there's no reason not to with him being completely tapped out.
Yeah.
Because now he just gets to swing for a grand.
Yep, right
just
into
take
his
a grand
face.
off of Soon.
Yep. And so what's interesting here is that Soon took the Erendite, which makes me think now that we're getting into the 6 mana area, he's trying to set up potentially a Belial later in the game, so he no longer has to worry about getting blown out. And while the life swing has kind of gone into Ryan's favor, he still could potentially drop this Belial at any point and just put himself right back in the game immediately.
Right.
So let's see what we have here. So the fact that Ryan isn't automatically calling stone
Means that he's maybe thinking of flipping here.
Yes.
Just going to swing in for the 10 damage real quick, taking Soon down to 38.
28.
Sure. 10 damage, take nothing. 28.
We don't judge here at Force of Will.
He's thinking about doing the judgment. He does.
He does.
He
Oh, it's
the
beautiful.
Judgment.
It's beautiful.
That is a very nice looking card. So he gets to do these awakenings for free. So
what Loki does is she reduces the cost of every awakening by 2. And if you have multiple awakenings, it affects all of them. And so he's essentially paying 1, but because of Loki's ability, he's able to
still get the draw discard
without paying any extra will. So now I think he discarded a Vivane.
Yeah, it looks like a Vivian. With having no other machines really in his hand, it made more sense.
And
so looking at Soon's kind of thing, he is playing the Jet Black Wings, the -6/-6 to the board, which I imagine might even get cast now.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably the time to cast it. You're going to take 3 things off of it. And
here we go. Oh, okay. You scared me for a second.
He's just going to play a Belial.
This is
hard cast.
No. Awakened
Oborozuki to be able to just kill the Loki.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's something interesting, too, that black decks have the ability to run Sword of Lament, which destroys a J-Ruler.
Or they can just play
run Oborozuki because you generally aren't going to see a early judgment in New Valhalla now, because a lot of the rulers need to kind of play on pace. So having this ability that the mid to late game, when you have 6 will available, you can play the 6/6 to an 8/8 flyer and destroy the J-Ruler. So very nice play. He now no longer has the option to drop 4-cost Fenrir's that just vomit value.
Right. And that's not to say that Fenrir is still not just a very strong card.
Incredibly strong.
And Loki does have, weirdly enough, being blue, has one of the most interesting combat tricksy master runes.
Yes.
Just like, swing in, block, okay, kill it, gain life, take damage.
Consume.
Yeah, take it.
And just for anyone new that is watching, so in Force of Will, when you attack, if you remove the blocker, the attack actually goes through. And so removal spells can be excellent to really force through damage, and always having access to that is huge. So very, very powerful.
Yeah, this has been when Ryan was telling me a little bit about the list. The fact that it was way heavier fairy tales. I mean, like fairy tales got me into Force Wells. So
Yeah,
okay, this is great, and it's actually really nice to see Loki using Loki's support.
Yes, I think a lot of people at the onset were very not worried, but just commenting, "Ooh, this has got to be a Lancelot, 3 cost."
Yep.
Boom.
So Donut Drone into a Lance.
And so I think a lot of people were concerned that maybe Loki wasn't going to be able to use a lot of its cards, or that even Hamilton was maybe a very small resonator. But the trick is in there.
That's 8 damage coming in on it.
We're blocking. Okay. Oh, okay.
He's gonna kill it with the Lance, using the Donut Drone, putting the counters on Lancelot to then kill it.
Yeah.
So he takes 8 and then another 6, so he'd be down to 14.
Yeah. That last 6 there.
That was a really, and so the nice thing here is he's playing he used his last stone to put another counter on the Lancelot.
Yep.
So now he just has his free spot removal.
Yeah, which is very big. So now, while he doesn't have access to steal something right now, I don't believe he does have the access to just destroy anything that he plays.
And that's the other thing that's really interesting too, is the fact that like, because of the way the Misty Woods works, you technically only need to ever get 1 Hamlin in the grave.
Yep.
And then every Misty Woods becomes a free Hamlin. So like,
something super interesting, and I'm sure you know this as well, he could, I believe, Lancelot, it's destroy any resonator. So he can destroy his own Hamlin and then steal something again.
If he wanted to.
If he wanted to. Like, and I'm not opposed to what is this? This is the
hard cast.
Yeah.
So he did it. So this is actually really good. He's just going to pop it in response.
So he doesn't take the damage.
Just doesn't take the life damage. Gets to bring everything back.
Yep.
So the other play would have been to like let that all happen and then just take the Belial.
Yeah.
Which is not what you want to do, because it wouldn't have swiftness, and you're dealing against a spot removal deck, and it's not so great.
Yeah.
But still, like, that was spending 6 will. Essentially was doing a 6 will board wipe.
Yeah.
But now Ryan's back in that position where he's constantly threatening Misty Woods.
Yeah.
It had been killed before the trigger happened, so no life loss. So another Misty Woods.
And he's got the Fenrir. So he's got Misty Woods Fenrir, and he's got 6 will available. So should he want to restock his hand, he could play the Fenrir, put a threat on board, and that's what it looks like he's doing. I'm going to guess he's going to draw 2 off of this Fenrir. Yep. And, he gets the Hamlin in hand, which is excellent if he wants to play one.
Hardcast it next turn,
yep,
right?
Yep.
So now he could even potentially hit double Hamlin next turn with like a Misty Woods into a Hamlin.
Yeah. And it looks to me, Ryan has not cast a single card.
Not have to use a single rune
yet.
Which I think speaks to, I have to admit, it has been very nice to see. Lucifer's going to discard all those cards. Yep. It has been very nice for me to see that there is such a good variety in whether or not rune decks are being used.
Yes.
And I think it speaks to the strong design of runes that, like, it's not like Scheherazade where it's just like by the end of the game you've used all 5,
yes.
right?
And
like there are games that you just don't have to use them, and you can build your deck in such a way that it is just kind of utility stuff.
Yep.
And you don't necessarily have to worry too much about it. So this is a really risky situation for Soon. And I say this in the effect of he's tapped out completely, he can just swing in for 10.
Yep.
If he blocks with the so there's 2 things he can do here.
Yep.
If he blocks with Lucifer, it's going to die.
Yep.
If he blocks with the Frankenstein, he can either consume it,
Yep.
just gain 10 life and still get the 10 in, or he can take it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, or he could charm it, which I've seen charm actually be very, he's taking it hard cast.
He's going to hard cast it and say we're not going to worry about it,
Yep.
which is fine. It forces him to say block with Lucifer or take 10.
Yep.
Which is a really good position for Ryan.
And now we're getting to this point in the game, even though the Frankenstein will only be able to probably attack once, it's so big that he's going to have to deal with it.
Right.
And so he does block, he chumps the Fenrir, and let's see. Now, we've seen Lucifer, this is the 3rd Lucifer deck we've seen. We have not seen anyone use the Magic Stone of Corruption yet, and I think that's
to force the discard.
Yeah, to force a discard. I think it's an interesting option when your opponent is low on cards to remove any answers, but we see now that Ryan has the 2 will open, so that basically any resonator that comes out, like look at this, Shemhaza, we see many very powerful cards in his hand, but he knows as soon as he plays it.
And the other problem is here that is facing soon is even if he Ryan has done a very good job of keeping him above a grand. Yeah. So like if he's gonna play a Lucifer, it has to be a lot. Yeah. Like if he's gonna play Belial, it has to pay all 6.
Yeah.
Which is like taps him out to do really well. So he's choosing here between Fenrir and the zombie for Azazel. I just pick the zombie, right?
Like I think you have to, just in the off chance you're running the reanimation rune. I think there's not a whole lot of ways to ever bring in format. There's no ways to bring back Fenrir that are typical, and so the only card that you basically don't want to target is Hamlin, because putting that in the graveyard, just as a reminder, the stealing creature effect on Hamlin is permanent. So even if Hamlin dies, he still gets to keep whatever he took. And so he's basically going for the most value he can without giving away anything, because now he keeps the Fenrir. If he's playing any return to hand shenanigans, he might be able to recast Fenrir at some point in time, but he still has access to the Misty Woods here. I can't imagine that he's gonna let him keep this Azazel, right? Like,
so it really depends, I think, on what gets the follow-up cast here.
Fair. Does he play another Azazel?
Yeah. So I would respond. He's going to pick the 2. Yep. I let the Hamlin die.
Yeah, easily,
Again, there's no reason to keep a 4 cost. It's dead and grave and gets reanimated very easily.
And
trying to think about maybe what he wants to grab.
I'm trying to see what is in Soon's hand.
I know he has a Shemhaza.
Okay, I saw the Shemhaza. I think he has a life-severing blade. Oh, I think he's trying to see if he can react to it potentially with something in his rune deck. We haven't seen anything out of Ryan, but now we're looking at
massive growth,
maintenance,
reconnaissance, overflowing knowledge, and consume.
So, my thought here is, if I'm Ryan, I want to see Soon tap out. So we get the. Yep, he's gonna
Hamlin to take.
The Hamlin's here. He takes this. Now he has the consume to deal with at least one of the Azazel on Soon's side of the field, and if I believe there is a severing blade which will not be activated by consume because it's removed from game
and not go to grave
rather than destroyed. And
so going to use reconnaissance here. Gets to look at the top 2.
Make sure he has the most answers possible.
Or top 3. Put any number of them on top of your deck in any order, and then draw.
Yep. So 4C3. It looks like, I can't tell there.
It's like a Lancelot.
I see the Lancelot.
The joke of everyone makes of severing. Severing is a card with cost reduction.
I honestly talked to the design team about potentially doing that from now on. Is anything that has a cost reduction effect as a spell, making it something severing,
just to trigger people. All day.
Yep.
So you see, he got the Ardenite there, which is really good as a potential answer to whatever follow-ups might come out of this turn.
Now
I still has access to the student. So I
can't imagine. I'm trying to think of what cards he has besides just removal to really save himself. I see him going down to 100 this turn, unless he plays it that safe. Okay, so we block here.
We're gonna see the consume.
Oh, he's playing. Oh, yep.
So he's gonna get to gain 9 life and take care of.
Gain 10 life. It gains the defense.
Yep. So up to 48.
Yep.
Life for Ryan. seeing if maybe Soon has a response.
All right, and as of now, there's 10 damage coming at his face. Yep.
It gets removed from game.
Yep. And so, as I said before,
catch that.
Combat goes through if there is no blocker, so...
We're going to do the -6 to the board, stop himself from taking as much damage as possible.
All right, that's fair. And that will actually kill the... Yes.
Hamlin. So he's still going to take a grand total of 4 and then another 3 from the Azazel, so he'll go down to 7.
7. So now what's interesting here is he's activated Belial now. And so now he has access to 3-cost Belials.
Right, but there's the Ardenite in
that Ryan found.
hand.
That, and I don't believe Soon knows that, though.
Right, nope, it's an unknown card at this point.
I think that could be one of the outs he's playing to. I believe that I believe that the the rune deck has capped out its 10 divinity for Soon, so we're not going to see a 5th card from him for this round. But let's see.
Don't get it. I don't remember where I put my phone. It's all good. Find it later.
So we're calling a stone. All right, we're at stone overload here. So,
yeah, very much so.
Excuse me. I think if he has the option, Shemhaza first, because I believe Ryan only has 1 card in hand.
Correct.
So Erenditing that is just a waste of will at this point.
Well, it would kill it.
Oh, if he wants to. I don't think he can. It costs 4 to awaken totally. So he could giant growth it in combination. Yeah, which he's going to do. And so, yep, he awakens it. And
it cancels the effect and destroys the resonator.
Yes, sir. And so now, if he has the Belial, I could see him actually doing well. Oh, okay. I'm going to guess blade. He doesn't if he's using the blade. And it looks like he has a Boruzuki, a Craving, not sure. Oh, and he scoops it up. All right, so he does not have the Belial, and so he cannot capitalize on the no hand.
Right.
So
Ryan takes game 1.
Very good. All right. So, a very interesting match, and I think this is something where traditionally maybe Loki Machines, as the full machine build, actually has a relatively poor matchup against Lucifer. But this build is kind of a meta on the meta of knowing that what is normally a bad matchup has now kind of been put in his favor. So very interesting. Hamlin doing a lot of work there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe Hamlin is the pre-release promo?
Hamlin is the pre-release promo, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah, tell me that doesn't look like a red mage.
Yeah, it's very well done.
So I was very happy about that.
This is the second time that Hamlin has been turned into a promo. So
hey, you're welcome. Let's see here. Unban Priscia and Lumia, free my thoughts.
So looking at the sideboard here real quick,
yes,
for
sir.
Ryan, 4 Witch's House, 2 Iron Cauldron Wench.
Witch?
That's bad.
Wench?
I mean, makes sense.
The 1920s.
two Mad Hatters, another Fenrir.
Yep.
A Gretel, a Gawain, the Merlin, and then the 1 Sky Round.
So I'm curious, what do you think he brings in here? I think I have a couple that stick out to me that you really like. So to me, Witch's House is great against Black Rosario.
Right.
Because it basically is like, if you're not target removaling, you're going to pay the piper here. And that's just, I mean, now he can set that up with the reconnaissance to some degree. But I think that's one strong inclusion. What else? What are you thinking looking at that?
So I'm looking at his list. I'm trying to remember.
Yes. What I can help you out with what some of them do here.
I have the list here.
Okay, very good, very good.
That's why we bring them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of the machines come in. I don't think he really necessarily has a point to.
Nope.
I think honestly, I do think the Witch's House has probably come into play.
Yep.
Maybe even pull some of the machines I would consider maybe even pulling the Vivians.
I was just about to say, I don't think Vivians do enough in this matchup, and while they are flying blockers, I don't think that's enough to justify keeping them in when you could have just assume that early game is going to be discard and setting up. And so we're not going to see maybe action until probably turn 3 or 4 in these decks.
I also don't think that Iron Cauldron Witch is that great in this matchup either, because the creatures that are being dropped have really strong enter effects.
Yeah.
So you don't want to say, hey, you get to do that again.
Yeah, you can discard again. You can kill my creatures. I think every Resonator that Lucifer plays is very powerful. All right. Excuse me, gentlemen. I need to step out for a second. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. I could maybe see the Mad Hatter being pulled in, potentially. For Soon's side of things, we have the Ruins of Neverending Rain, 4 of the Rains of Tears, 2 Minister of Grief, an Oborozuki, a Disgraced Knight, Whispers of the Devil, Corpse Sorcerer, and 2 Immortal Commanders. So I think he has to do a little bit better job of the problem is for Soon really is that he is actually not very favored in this matchup just because of the fact that Ryan is playing a Reanimate deck. And as we've talked about before on the podcast, is Reanimate is the natural bane of discard, because you can discard all you want, but if I just bring it back, it doesn't matter. Then you essentially cast a spell that did nothing. So I definitely think that the Witch House has probably come in for Ryan. I'm not entirely sure what Soon could potentially bring in to be able to deal with what Ryan's list is kind of looking to do. So I'm seeing that first turn nothing from Soon into a first turn Gretel from Ryan. So Ryan having that very strong early game start, really probably hoping to get that turn to they're both going to take the little life point swing. So 2 down, 2 up. Ryan is definitely trying to hope to stick that turn to Awakened Scarecrow. He does have it there, so he's going to play the Awakening. So he gets to draw 2 and then discard 1 because of the Scarecrow and because of Gretel. So a lot of value, a lot of being able to sculpt his hand. And there is the Hamlin that he got there as the second draw. So that's just going to get dropped in the graveyard, I think. Might get held in his hands, but I would honestly think that you would probably set it face down, or that you would just discard it. Does discard the Piper. Soon swinging in for 6. Ryan saying that's fine, I'll take it. Goes down to 32. Disgrace Knight coming into play. So honestly, even though it's super early, I imagine that if this Disgrace Knight is going to try to block the Scarecrow, that we're going to see it consume. And the main reason why I think we'd see it now is because it just permanently deals with Disgrace Knight. It gets removed from the game. It doesn't have a way to be able to reanimate itself. It's just a vanilla 8/7. And then it'd be 700 life point gain, which would be great for Ryan to be back on top, and then 400 damage to Soon. And so then suddenly Ryan is back ahead of the curve. Choosing to play the House, which is an excellent setup to the Black Rosario protection. So if that card ever dies, you get to look at the top card. And he does have 1 will available with Energize, so he could potentially use the reconnaissance to set up his next couple card draws in a way that makes house very, very powerful. Oh, not witch. It is the house. The house. Witch's house. Yeah, very, very good card. It's a solid stat line. It doesn't really have much attack, but it is a good blocker. And then just becomes a free creature later, especially if you can set it up nicely. Seeing a Tears of the Fallens for a random discard. 6 total cards. We do have he did bring in the Witch, which is an interesting decision. I don't know if I would have necessarily gone that way. Ryan might be thinking that these games are going to go long, so if I have some heavy hitting creatures, that might be better for me. Taking a little bit of player notes here. Maybe the thought is that you play the Witch because you can reanimate it quickly. It's another discard target to be able to bounce and have this heavy hitter rather than steal control of something. Did choose to make him discard. Looks like Ardenite. Blocks with the house. Blocks the 6 damage from the house. 8 damage coming in with the Disgraced Knight. He says that's fine. I'm going to take it. Goes down to 24. So choosing to do the -6 the board. So Ryan gets to look at the top. It is not a Resonator, unfortunately. It's a Misty Woods. But it's fine because he gets to now draw the Misty Woods. So if he can set up a board state to be able to potentially steal the Disgraced Knight or make a follow-up play to be able to bring back the Hamlin, then he might be in pretty good shape. So Ryan looking at maybe playing into Misty Woods. Yep, so the Misty Woods getting played. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. So we saw a house was going to...
So we were correct. So hey guys, I'm back. Whoopsies. The Witch's House is being played.
Yeah, he is actually also playing the Witch.
Oh. Really?
Which I didn't really think about this. It's just another reanimate target.
Oh, because it is
a fairy tale. So you can just suddenly have this 8/8 that bounces a dude and you get to draw a card.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's a lot of value to potentially be gained off of it.
And even playing it on an empty field, I believe the draw card trigger is not connected to the bounce. So it's just value on that.
So all cards are currently in English. They wrote down some kind of phrases for soon to be able to kind of reference what Ryan might be saying. We do have someone who can speak Chinese if necessary to be able to help. Thankfully, a lot of this game can be dealt with by just communicating and pointing because we all know what these cards do. So
something I will stress is the gaming tends to kind of be an international language in and of itself, and so there is a lot of great ways to communicate. 7% of language is usually communicated through body language alone, so even coming to a new country, meeting new people, visiting friends, you don't necessarily have to speak their language to be able to enjoy the game and to be able to play with one another. So
right.
Now, let me just ask Jeremy to get caught up here. This Jormungandr, was this a growth or a gluttony?
It looks like a gluttony counter,
Okay.
so that he can potentially set up for being able to steal something with Hamlin,
Gotcha.
which makes a lot of sense. Ryan has definitely had a much harder time this game being able to establish a solid board presence and keep tempo on Soon. Soon had a much stronger start to be able to kind of control the tempo, taking another 8 damage here, going down to 16.
Oh, wow. And I see he has the knight there, which, as we saw in game 1, can really do a lot of work.
Even just that 2-point life swing can be kind of relevant.
Yep. And I think we're seeing a little bit here. Like, it seems like a lot of the decks are running a multitude of ways to actually close the game. Sometimes.
Right, which is good.
Close and then finishing it off. So, and I've even seen something along the lines of playing a Belial, wiping out your field and theirs to deal enough burn damage to close out a game.
Right. So Ryan's got to figure out unfortunately, he's kind of a little bit on the clock, is he really needs to figure out what he's going to do here. And I say this just from the perspective of Soon is establishing a sticky board, which a sticky board is much harder for Hamlin to get the most value off of.
And then now that he's got a couple things in play, now he's not guaranteed to just keep stealing everything he wants. Now the random aspect. Hey, testing. Hello. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Sorry, guys. But yeah, now that we're getting a field that's sticky, he's getting okay. So now I think he's gonna go for the Hamlin.
He is gonna go to try to randomize.
All right. So
here with
now
the
we're
Hamlin.
gonna. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna roll. All right. Oh, nice
guys,
grab.
nice.
That's a big one.
He's doing it during the end of Soon's turn, so he would go into his turn being able to swing with that. Or maybe not. Why is it tapped?
There we go.
It's like,
Okay.
Ryan,
So
what'd
it
you do,
does
buddy?
not stay tapped. Oh man, Ryan has a full grip right now. He looks like
He has a lot of cards in his hands, and he does have that nice other.
he's got Witch,
Witch's
Lancelot, House, and the rest of it I'm having trouble seeing as it goes by itself quickly.
So with the Jorg, he can get rid of the knight here too.
Yep.
My thought was earlier to there was a moment where maybe would have been a little bit preemptive to say like use a consume on the knight. Ryan chose not to do that.
Yep.
I think looking back on it, my playline probably would have been just better to do. He's using the reconnaissance here, and the reason why he's doing the reconnaissance here is he wants to set up a couple of turns to then just play Witch this turn and say,
yeah.
are you going to try to kill it?
Yeah.
Because,
What are you going to do?
Because you
with it?
don't know what I set, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know how it's set up.
Yeah.
So he could set up to have 2 creatures. He could set up to have, whatever he needs. Looking at those 3 top cards, he does get to draw 1. So he might.
I know it's Jorm. I just prefer to call it Jormungandr.
Jeremy's mispronounced many a card.
No,
Yes.
I think they're yelling at me for
No.
mispronouncing it. Maybe you too.
Me too.
Any of the Japanese ones I'm fine
Well,
on.
during one of
Yeah,
my
Georg! If anyone's a Majora's Mask fan, we appreciate you. And I'm not talking about the 3DS remake, which was way easier, so get out of my life unless you played the N64 one.
swinging for 4, taken down to 38.
All right.
During one of my unboxings, Panda Pilot, I kept calling it Pasta Panda or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, by the end of it, I'd have full art playset of Pasta Panda. So every time I play, I was like, Pasta Panda. Here we go.
I kind of love... all right, so we're declaring attacks. We're going to... okay.
Gonna kill the Norm
Yep, Scythe of the Reaper.
to stop him from being able to deal stuff with.
Yep, I agree with that.
And then swinging in for 8, taking him down to 30.
And do we know? And I'm gonna look at the deck list here.
The snake guy, his name's Jeremy Garger. That's perfect.
That's
I like
how
it.
it sound, right?
That's me. I'll take it.
All right, so I'm nope, this is the wrong person. I want to check out over here. So we're looking at Soon's deck list. I'm just seeing what he has access to here. So he has the typical hand destruction package, and then the angels that go with it. He has Whispers of the Devil, which is interesting, as a card advantage kind of tool.
It's draw 2, take 5, right?
Yes, sir. It is.
Consume here, going to be used to kill the 6/5.
Ah, I see. Yep. And
so a little bit of a nice little swing. Right?
Buffer as
Buffers
well
himself
for
up,
Ryan.
gains 5 life, goes up to 21.
Now, all
Belial
right.
coming in to just nuke the board.
Boom.
Unless there's an Ardenite.
There's not a
Has
whole.
to be one right now to be able to cancel it.
And nope,
Nope,
boom,
no
boom.
Ardenite,
All right,
is-
take 2. And now, now is he completely tapped? Yes, he is. So he cannot buy back the zombie, unfortunately. But still a very strong play. He's got a 12-12 fly. And Belial does put games on a clock very quickly.
Oh, yeah, 12 flyer. I mean,
Yeah, that alone.
4 swings and the game's over. Like,
And I mean, now the real trick is going to be: is there anything he can take or steal? So, okay, we see the Lancelot. So we know with Ryan's maintenance in the side deck.
double Lance.
And then there's got to be a maintenance coming out.
Well, he
right?
can't do maintenance. It's Loki. Oh, he can do maintenance. I'm so stupid. Yes, he totally can do maintenance still as Loki. So I imagine that, maintenance will come out as needed. Just using the right counters. So we're using white for
white,
+1/+1.
black for minus.
Correct.
Very good. Now, let's see.
Yeah, so I imagine the maintenance probably gets cast here, makes them both bigger. And so now he's sitting on having 2 removal spells on these 2 7. At this point, it'll be a 7/7 and then a 9/9 body.
Very good. And so the reason why Jeremy was saying that was because we had just watched a Hanzo match before, and because maintenance is a pure rune, it is tied to a blue ruler. You may not play it if your ruler is not blue. And so Hanzo, that we watched earlier, did not have access to this card. However, Loki, being a blue ruler, does have access, and that lets him being Ryan, use the maintenance to destroy cards, even though he might not have as many machine support cards as before. We see that
Back-to-back
soon,
board wipes.
Yep.
Thanks, Black Rosario.
taking turns board
Stop hitting
wiping.
my camera, Ryan Miles. I'll be right back.
All right. So, for those that don't know, Ryan is a very tall gentleman. So it's actually shifted to a little bit. So we're gonna fix that real quick. But we seeing? I believe is that a Awakened? Okay. Yep. We're almost there. That's goodish. Looks good.
Taking notes on both sides. See those 2 queens?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ryan, he does have access to the Gretel, which is nice, and the house, which is great, but Black Rosario's already been used.
Yeah. He's
Not as much value to come out of it.
and now he has lost quite a bit of value here, but all right.
The Knight for a 2-point life swing.
2-point
there.
life
So down to
swing.
17 to 32.
All right. So something interesting to note is if Soon does take this game.
17 to 32.
So hold on, Ryan did.
15.
Yeah, Ryan did not gain 15, as though it may appear that way. If Soon does win this next game, there's a very real chance they're going to be going 1-1-1.
Yeah, very real. Neither of these decks, Ryan would have to have a very aggressive start. And again, as we've seen before, Darkness decks are very, very good at saying, you don't win. Like,
Yes.
I maybe don't win, but you really
You
don't win. And so going into game 3s are not ideal. And I think that's why I play with Ryan a lot. I've hung out with Ryan a lot. He is very much feeling the, like,
I need
to
close
do
this
something,
game.
or I need to establish
A board
to not lose.
Yeah.
So
We see the house come out. And
so we do know that there exists a Loki Judgment here would only take 3 cards, which maybe isn't super ideal. And in Oborozuki, there's still the house.
yeah. And honestly, I see if Ryan's going to come back, I think a Fenrir right now would be huge.
Absolutely. Agree with you 100% on that.
Right.
Fenrir, you do get both of his awakening effects, and so those effects become, isn't it, draw 2 cards and put a resonator you control back on their hand?
No, they banished that resonator.
Yeah.
So they banished. What's interesting is he has banished target resonator, which is kind of
This is the first time that's ever happened.
yes, and I love it. It was it had originally even been something else. So he is. It looks like he awakened a Oborozuki.
Yep.
And to get the Loki off the field, which depending on what
is it, a second Oborozuki?
Yes,
he just played
2.
the second one.
I don't know. I might have actually banished
the second Oborozuki
to have a flying attacker.
Yeah, I probably would have as well.
I think like there's actually in this format the difference between a 6/6 and an 8/8 is huge.
And the difference between on the ground and flying is also
astronomical. Yes.
So like what he can do here is he's got enough will to be able to play the witch. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the witch get played here.
Yep.
To bounce one of the Oborozukis.
Agreed.
Just draw some cards.
He's like, what is this card? So this is pay 2 and draw 2 cards with a divinity cost of 3.
Yeah.
And yes, Black One, I know that reference. Maybe to my own shame. Maybe Asagi.
So Gretel coming down.
All right, so we have
and then just passing the turn there.
Pass the turn with leaving 1, 2, 3, 4 will open.
Probably saving room for an Ardenite.
Yep.
I imagine.
Yep, that's fair. Yep. Now, what do you think? How is Ryan? So he's starting to put up a defense, and he's going about it correctly, but
blocks with the house.
Yep. Now, do you eat the zombie here to the Oborozuki trigger if you were
target
to give the house -4/-4 and hope that there's just junk on top?
He's going to. It seems like he's going to. I personally wouldn't. We're gonna do the Ardenite with the Awakened when he's doing the sack. I think.
Let's see.
So he is choosing the sacrifice.
So it triggers no matter what, and then it's a May. So
and he gets to draw a card off of the Gretel, and he's gonna chump block the Oborozuki. Should only have to pay 1 for that.
All right. Did Ryan draw for the Erendite?
I think so.
Okay.
And then drew a card and then says, no, I can't win. So I guess he scooped. So Ryan scoops.
All right.
9 minutes left on the clock.
1-1.
It is very real that Ryan could find a way to close it out. But unfortunately, with only 9 minutes left on the clock and then 3 turns, Ryan would definitely need a much stronger start than he had in this game to be able to reestablish.
And now, I think in this game, actually, Ryan, the Gwains come in and you go full face.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think even soon with a good play is going to be able to close out.
Oh, he used Craving.
Oh, gotcha.
But he didn't, with the damage from...
Oh, okay.
So he must have been off on the life totals a little bit.
Okay, no problem. Well, as long as they got it right.
Okay, they got it right. So congrats to Ryan. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to go... They look like they're still sideboarding, so I can't imagine that... Looking like they're making decisions.
No, they're sideboard. Yeah. So, anyways, as we stand here, as these guys sideboard, I think definitely Gwains come in because the swiftness is just invaluable in this round. And what do you think about actually bringing in something like the Sky Rounds and the Merlins just to tutor up the Gwains? Or do you think that's too heavy?
I think it's a little bit too... Because the other one's... He's only running
the
2 Gawain, the 1 Castle, and the 1 Merlin. I don't think Ryan has time to try to get cute.
That's fair.
With this very fast pile shuffling, I don't think either of these people are deciding.
No.
And Ryan offering a cut. Yeah, I think we're going into game.
Yeah, we're going into game 3 with 7 minutes against 2.
Actually, a little less. The clock had to restart. It froze at about 59 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So right around 6 to 7 minutes. Play mistake, Cody. Is that Cody Jennings? If so, good to see you. Glad to be here. Taylor. 147 people joining us.
There's 147 people watching. Fantastic. Remember, share it out, post it online. We're going to be here today. We're doing the Swiss rounds. We have 7 rounds today with 121 players.
Our focus next round is going to be trying to grab ISIS.
Okay, yep, sounds good. Yeah, I actually watched ISIS is doing
Rob is showing us a look that there's some serious good ISIS stuff.
We played Brandon.
Yeah.
Bremont,
yeah.
Went to game 3.
Yeah.
Bremont.
It went to the top deck. He got Brandon down to 1, and then Brandon was able to come back and kill him.
But so we'll have ISIS out, and I'm super excited to see that as well. So we're back in the game here. We have he found the Gretel off of
the first turn
Misty Woods here?
Woods.
And then, so what are we seeing out of soon? I think we're going to see them playing pretty quickly here. No, I can agree with this, not awakening immediately the thought of corruption, the discard spell.
Sure.
Just because sometimes you want your opponent to sculpt their hand a little bit before you take it apart.
Right.
And he's paying 1
for a second Misty
one.
Woods.
All right. He's like, okay, let's go. And now both of them are.
There are, I'm Sabo, there are quite a few non-machine Hanzos. That is actually my focus for round 5.
Okay.
I'm going to try to grab one of the non-machine Hanzos. We're going to try to get it in round 5.
So speaking of non-machine Hanzos, very briefly, Karura. Pretty interesting card,
the
huh?
5-cost can't be canceled.
Yeah.
Quick cast resonator.
Barrier.
What is up with 5-drop resonators in green having quick cast?
Yeah.
Jupiter.
Karura, yeah. Well, if you notice, 5-cost for is kind of been a thing a little bit. And the black obviously is 4 drops, but the 5-cost resonators like Jubei, etc., like that's kind of been where the power, like the big power play cards have been, is the 5-6 cost. So Belial, Awakened,
Playing a house.
Siegfried, etc. So house comes down. So we are playing very quickly, but again, as we said, no real serious action until turn 3. Okay, we're seeing the Awakened.
So he gets to pick 2 cards.
I think he's only going to get 1, though. So he does not have the Hamlin to discard. And as it turns out, there's only...
So it's Awakened for taking 2 cards, right?
Awakened for taking a 4 and below and a 5 and above.
Oh,
and
so he only gets to hit 1 thing because
Yeah.
there wasn't the Hamlin or anything.
Correct. And
So the Twitch, I would have to ask Jeff in terms of if this is going to be saved on the Twitch. But even if it would be saved privately on the Twitch, it is most likely going to be up on YouTube
I assume,
afterwards.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the VODs, and we might even, maybe tonight, we'll try and upload it to YouTube as well.
So we can see at least day 1. Maybe you can go back and interview it tonight, guys.
So he finds the Hamlin.
Which is great.
Yep. And
He does have the reanimate.
Yeah,
he's got this time clock, and he's saying, "I'm going to start swinging."
Yep. I would say at this point you would be pretty aggressive and just kind of get in,
absolutely.
right?
Try to get in as fast as possible.
Make Sun defend himself and then steal whatever he tries to block with. So, all right, we're playing the 1. Nope. We're leaving it open.
Thinking about maybe playing a second Scarecrow, which I think is smart.
Yep.
He's probably going to discard something else pretty heavy that he can potentially reanimate, like a
House, all right.
Swinging in for 7. It's going to take it. Or no, sorry, 4. It's just 4. It's a 4/7. So down to 36 for soon.
And next turn, he has 12 power on board
Yeah,
to
there's a
swing
lot
with.
of damage here. And
So-
the other thing is, so the Black Wings is not going to deal with the house,
Yep.
which is pretty good
Black
for soon. The fact
Yep.
that it's not going to answer house.
And I think that's you would go for wings on attack even,
Right.
so that if Ryan does choose to play anything early on, it minuses that. And I think at this point, Soon is essentially playing not to lose, and
Right.
unfortunately, that's.
I mean, they're both 2-0,
Yep.
right? So in a format of 7 rounds, going 2-1 in round 3 is actually still pretty good. It
Yes.
doesn't nearly knock anybody out
Yeah.
of contention. 2-1 is going, or 2-0-1 going into round 4 of a 7-round tournament is still a pretty decent record.
Yes. Now, judging by that will cost, if he passes the turn, I would have thought, oh, maybe he's got the Frankenstein?
Yep. Looks like the
Frankenstein
Frankenstein's
makes a
gonna
good
come down.
wall. Yep. All right. That's fair.
The thing is, Ryan has access to consume,
Consume,
which
so
I'm not super sure why this would be the play line.
No.
Especially since he also has Hamlin, so he can do consume and Hamlin this turn
No.
and just take a ton of like,
Damage. Yeah. That's I feel like
Ryan
Black
should be
Wings-
at 40. Should be at 38 life. There was the 2-drop that 200 life point swing, so it should be 38 to 38. 38 all. The 3 rulers who are not seeing any play are Shamimi
Fushi,
and Lich.
Yep.
I'm a little surprised that Shamimi didn't see play. Lich, I wasn't surprised by at all.
Really? All
I
right.
wasn't really surprised by. Well, just like in this format, in this set,
Yeah, what they do,
whatever they do,
Yeah.
Lucifer is just like, I will take that and make it better.
Yeah.
So
The
you just-
discard impacts the field immediately.
right.
No, that's fair.
Fushi, I wasn't unsurprised at
No,
all that
no.
not seeing 0 play. Chamimi is the one that I was like,
Yeah, that Master Rune is
interesting.
actually very powerful, but I
So
think
he's choosing to
consume-
consume. Oh, to try to take the 10-10.
okay. He's trying to put lethal on board as fast as possible.
And then swing
12.
in for 12 damage there.
Yep.
He would gain 500, so 43 to 26.
Yep.
That's her life total here.
And so next turn he has 16. He has 20. He has lethal on board right now.
There is access to the Black Wings, though, which
Yep.
deals with 3 of those pieces of lethal.
He can do Black Wings into Black Rosario.
Yep, which would just wipe it all.
Yep. Which,
Black Wings,
yep. 1, 2, 3. And how much you want to bet?
Black Rosario just to tap it out.
Yep. I think you.
Yeah, Fushi is the other red one.
Yep.
He's just going to say that's,
Yep.
just get rid of it.
Yep.
But
This
House into house,
All right.
which is great.
Yep.
house in the house.
At this point,
They are now in turns. It looks like they are out of time. So, looks like
Ryan is
is
turn
turn
0?
0. Yep. He was trying to say, like, soon, are you done? Are you done?
Yep.
To try to push to be turn 0.
So now something interesting is I see he has the Jorgmunder. Do you fully awaken it and try to just grow it into some monster for the...
So normally I would for the next turn.
Yep.
The problem becomes that Ryan has this turn
Yeah.
and one other
Yep.
to be able to deal 26.
So-
And going against a deck that has a 3-cost kill something,
Yeah.
like that doesn't feel like it's the right play.
What do we... All right.
Oh, he is playing the Jorg unawakened. No,
oh.
he is awakening it for the growth and then hitting for 4 down to 22.
And then
so he's
maybe-
taking the gluttony, so you
Yeah.
can potentially remove something out of the way.
And Lance does have a counter on it. Well, although it... Yep.
So we are... Oh, no, it looks like we're at the end of turns. So we missed they were in turns.
They're
So
triggers.
that is going to end up being a draw.
All right.
That was very interesting to see.
Yes, that
I
was a
think
very
that
good
was
game.
Really good to see. And that whole idea of the Loki list from Ryan, like that was